Was hosting. It was called Nick Cannon's Fresh Faces of Comedy.
How did you get on that event?
And that's what made me realize, okay, this shit over here is my responsibility.
Right.
That out there is gonna go whether or not I'm here or not. And get all this shit together on my own, and somebody might. That's how Nick met me. I was outside talking to myself, getting my set together, because the dude at the comedy club told me I couldn't talk about none of the shit that I planned on talk about the first time I was going up there to do the show in New York. I always find it funny that it can be a real everywhere except for in their house. Get into a position where everybody wanted something from you, to realize that the only shit that really mattered was what I can get of myself. Know that they would just ask me how I was feeling, to ask me for something right after made me do something that I had never done in my life prior to that point, and that's duck the responsibility necessary to having the conversations with these people. I ain't never ducked nothing in my life.
Right. Now want to loon me to death. Salute, Loon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my man, Loon.
That's my man, too.
Both Loons. Old Loon, new Loon, both Loons.
Okay.
Yeah,
All ops must know it's up there and it's stuck there, nigga.
When it's up there, man, it's stuck there.
Shut up.
Well, yeah, I have been booed, but it was on purpose. Like, I knew the boos was coming. Like, I went to Dallas, and and this is when I first performed in front of Martin, my first time meeting Martin, right? I'm on a show. It's a group show now. With the big tours, when you see all of these different guys, when you have a D-Ray and a Martin and a Ricky Smiley and a Corey Holcomb and all them dudes on one show, that's the potluck. That's when you bring your dish to the big show. You know what I mean? The comedy club is where you hone your skill.
Yeah.
I had, 20? I had 20 minutes.
That's
20
good,
minutes.
though.
But at this point, this
That's
was just
a
a couple.
mean set. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. But for me, I was just in awe of the fact that I'm getting ready to perform in front of that I idolized as a young. So I'm like, what can I do to separate myself in this moment in front of this person that has seen every kind of comedy that exists at the highest level? Like, it's very rare that I want to impress other men in any capacity. But in that capacity, I was like, I want to impress this man because he's impressed me for so many years, not even knowing who I am. And then he just greeted me and said he was glad to meet me and gave me level. I want him to see that I'm one of them ones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I want him to see that in this moment.
Yeah.
So I came out and I'm in Dallas, and, I always rap, I mean, that's just always something I do. And it's a song called Southside is the Realest. That's a big song in Dallas. So I came out, and I'm like, every time I hear this song, it made me feel like I'm from Dallas, you know what I mean? I'm the Chico is the realest. Know you gon' feel it. What did I say? Know you gon' feel it. Know that I'm the illest. I get to rapping, and I'm like, pockets on swole. Flow is so cold. And mind you, at this point, they all the way into the rhyme. Hey, I'm like, the Cowboys ain't never gonna win the Super Bowl. Boo! Boo! I'm like, how's what you get? Washington football team. Yeah, you should have waited. That's what's wrong with we rap to you now. You think you know it.
Right.
And then just that, and then being able to turn them around that quick, that was what I had to do. And for me,
right, to stand out.
Out in that moment. Like, I'm gonna come out and say, I'm talking about everybody. Hey, the Cowboys ain't never. Boo, boo. Yeah. I'm like, y'all.
Yeah.
And that right there was a level of audacity that most people don't have the fearlessness to be able to do on stage, especially in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm nervous. I get nervous before every show. I've always told myself, if it's a show and I ain't getting nervous, that means I didn't accomplish everything I'm supposed to accomplish. So I still get nervous before I touch every stage. Yeah. But once I get out there and hear my voice, it's clockwork. I'm doing my thing.
I think, but so that's how you get through it. But you get nervous. You just recognize, all right, this is part of the pattern.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
Part of what happens.
Because I want to, like I said, my work is my work.
Yeah.
I want my work to be something that people are proud to, say that they saw. So I'm always like, let me make sure I give my best. But in that moment, I'm like, nah, I want to show this how raw I am. Like, because I don't necessarily have the same capacity that most people do. It's like, if you know you can do something, or if you know you that man, you ain't got to show up and announce it. The loud in the room is usually trying to prove something.
Right.
And then probably to himself mostly.
Right.
For me, I don't do none of that. You know what I mean? But when I want to and when I feel it, I'm like, man, I'm about to show this person how much of a dog I am at this shit. Because I want you to leave here. More than even the people. I want the people to leave here with that perspective, but I want you to leave here knowing that your influence gave me this ability to be able to take the parts of the game that you laid down and do this with it.
Right.
I want to give you that because you mean so much to me and that in my career, in my life, in my moment. I ain't had no daddy, so you kind of helped raise me being able to sit in front of that TV while my mama went and handle business and watch you and laugh. So the fact that you are in front of me right now and I'm a peer of yours in theory, I want you to be able to see, man, hey, Slim, the work that you put in has impacted the next generation to this capacity. Right. And I'm one of your understudies, whether you know it or not. And look what I'm able to do from your, tutelage, if you will.
And that's some dope shit. How did you get into comedy?
I went to college and went.
What year you get
08.
in? How long you been?
I started doing it in 08. Yeah, I graduated from college and I, went to Winston-Salem State.
You did them bullshit rooms though? Like
oh, what? That's how you start. You know what I mean? And I was the last class of comedian that came in was before social media. 08 social media wasn't. It was just Facebook for real. It wasn't no, social media that you can capitalize off with comedy. So I still was having to go do the open mics and I started at the Greensboro Comedy Zone in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I did that purposefully because it's like I got to make a name here. Yeah. Because whenever I go to these places that they tell me you got to go to make it, then I need to have somebody that I can come back to and that's going to support me whether or not they believe I'm the shit or not. So I got to build this following, and I'm going to do it right here where it's not a hotbed of comedy, where ain't nobody necessarily coming to look for nobody that's comedic talent. If I can come up out of here with a name, then it's going to make them respect me when I go to these places. And even if they don't, when I touch that stage, the work that I've been doing in these places to make these people with me, when you do this shit every night, you're going to see the difference.
Right. It shine bright.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when I graduated,
go ahead.
When I graduated, I went to get a job where I did my internship at, and they told me I was going to be making $6.25 an hour. And I was like, I'm not, because like the hustler in me just wouldn't allow me to go the route that they say you supposed to go. Like I'm saying, like we've been talking about that social customary thing that we believe in, subscribing to the group think. I done went and did this, and you telling me I'm about to be making less than I was making when I got my first job bagging up groceries at 13? Nah, I'm not okay with that. Yeah. So I went home, went through the whole process of figuring out what I was going to do. My man, Jerome, had told me, man, you need to try comedy, because I was hosting all this shit on campus in college and doing all the step shows and all that. But I'm like, man, I ain't never want to be no comedian. Like, I ain't really... I like comedy. I study comedy because I enjoy, the craft of it, but I ain't never wanted to be no comedian. He was like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, you need to get this shit a try, bro. You funny as fuck. I'm like, I'm funny to you because you my man. I ain't walking around goofing. Like, my perception was different of what it took to be in this space. So he was like, man, they got an open mic at the Comedy Zone. Let's just go look and watch it. So it was the first and second Thursday of every month. That first Thursday, I went and watched Everybody Bomb. I was just like, well, I at least can do this up.
Facts.
So that next week I was getting my whole 4 minutes together, because that's all the time you got was 4 minutes. I went the next Thursday, went and did my 4 minutes, and when I got off stage, I swear to God, it was like I felt it. I said, this what I'm supposed to be doing. This it.
Damn.
That's how it came to
so
me. I've been doing it ever since that day.
Quick. Do you write jokes? How long it take you to write? You don't write jokes?
I don't. I write the idea down in my.
That's how I like to do.
Yeah, my mind is different, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Even
like,
recite nothing. I'm like,
no, I don't want to lose an idea, but I talk to myself. Like, I get it together in my own mind. It's just the way my mind works. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've embraced the parts that the shit that, for me, doing the type of work that I do, and prior to being a comedian, it's made me embrace the things that people are going to say about you that justify you being crazy, quote unquote. Like the fact that I talk to myself and walk around in the circle and get all this shit together on my own, and that's how Nick met me. I was outside talking to myself, getting my set together, because the dude at the comedy club told me I couldn't talk about none of the shit that I planned on talking about the first time I was going up there to do the show in New York at Gotham Comedy Club. This was my first time ever performing in a major comedy club. And, New York is the mecca of stand-up comedy. So I got in there. Dude was like, I don't know who you are. You can't say this. You can't curse. You can't say the N-word. We want to, this is this type of show. So at that point, that's what I thought I was ready to go up there and do my Def Jam shit. So he was like, no, you can't do that. I'm outside reworking my whole set. I got 10 minutes. I'm out there walking around in a circle talking to myself, getting this shit together. Like, yes, I'm going to do this. Nick comes in, sees me outside talking to myself. He don't know me from a can of paint at this point. But he see me talking to myself because I'm really into it. I don't care that nobody's looking at me. I'm in my own bubble, like getting my shit together. Fast forward.
We gonna come holler at that though. We see somebody on their vibe like that, we're gonna say he's serious about this.
See, he didn't know what I was doing.
He didn't even know what you
we
were
in
doing.
New York.
Okay.
I'm just a crazy talking to myself. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm just another outside running around in a circle talking to herself. Fast forward, I do my show, rock that, kill it, and I'm talking about what just happened. I'm talking about the fact that this just seen me outside talking to myself, getting this shit together because this white man just told me what the I couldn't do, and I ain't had no choice because I'm broke and I need the opportunity. That was my whole set, talking about what happened to me that day. When I get off stage, Nick stopped me. Stopped me in my tracks. He's supposed to be going up to introduce the next comedian. He grabbed me. Hey, was you just outside making that shit up that you just did? I'm like, yeah, I was. He said, man, I'm around some of the best in the game. They can't do what you just did. Keep working. That was his.
And that's how y'all met.
That's how we met. That was our first interaction.
So you saw him again at Wildnout through Dolly with that.
But that was almost 2 years after that
right,
experience.
But I just wanted to connect that. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what was he in the building for? He was hosting the
He was
event?
hosting. It was called Nick Cannon's Fresh Faces of Comedy.
How did you get on that event?
Dolly.
Damn.
Dolly making that phone call saying, I got some guys in North Carolina that's funny. You should give them an opportunity to come up here and do the show. And he was like, all right, bet, book him, because he was looking for new talent, but not for wilding out. He was just looking for new talent because that's just something Nick does from time to time. He just try to find new talent. And it was the Fresh Faces of Comedy. My man B-Dot, who we used to do the FFCS with, my freestyle funny comedy show that I started doing in North Carolina. He went up the first week and did it. And then I came up that second week and did it. And that's what happened. When I came and walked in the club, he was like, all right, Chico Bean. Okay, who are you? I'm like, I'm on the list. I'm performing. He was like, what are you doing? Because they got more than one room. I'm like, he's like, oh, you're in the main room? Oh, you're on that Nick Cannon show. All right, so, what type of material do you do? I'm like, comedy. You mean what type of material do I do? I ain't never had to answer no question like that.
And all that.
Yeah, so he like, man, what type of material? What
Are you
dirty?
dark?
Are you clean?
Dirty?
Or what are
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Mind you, I'm fresh into doing comedy, about a year and a half in. I'm like, I do comedy. Like, what do you be? Do I curse? Yeah. Well, do you talk about sex? Yeah. Do you say the N-word? Yeah. Well, you can't do any of that in here.
Got to be clean.
You got to do this. You can't do any of that. So,
And that's why you was outside.
and that's why I was outside, because everything that I planned on talking about, this man just told me that I'm not going to be able to say in this club.
Damn.
And I could have been a rebel and went up there and just did this shit anyway,
yeah.
and my opportunity up
Right.
to ever be able to come back into that space again. And I don't know who this person is. And I know that this is the biggest opportunity that I have gotten up until that point. And I'm up there on the strength of somebody who I love to death's word and recommendation. So I don't want to fuck up what she gonna have to deal with tomorrow when I take my ass back down here to the Comedy Zone in North Carolina.
Right.
So I'm gonna make sure that I go out here and do that. Most in that position would have just said and left, because they can't do
They
what I
with
was
it
able to
enough,
do.
yeah.
But I'm just, the way my mind work, I've always just been a special big-headed that can go out and do different things at a level that most people can't do and they can't understand, and I always embrace that. So I went out and talked to myself, and I'm talking about I'm out there full-fledged, like, and this nigga walk in, and I'm all the way, I'm not even seeing, I'm aware of my surroundings, but I'm locked into what I'm doing. And when I got on stage, the first thing I did was talk about what just happened. And when I did my Wildin' Out audition 2 years later, when I first walked into the audition room, then mind you, my man Dot tells this story so crazy because we went together. He went in and, he does his whole little spiel and they ain't really with it. When he leaves out, and this is from him telling me his perspective of it, when I walk into the room, he said within the first couple of 15 seconds of you being in the room, all I heard was that erupt with laughter. And he said, that's when I knew I didn't make it. He said, when I heard that laughter that came out the room when you walked in, I knew it was over with. But for me, when I walked in, I'm not talking about the preparation that I had driving up here for this. I'm talking about what's in front of me.
Right.
Because I want you to see that this is naturally who I am. I don't have to practice being me. Like, me being me is what I want people to subscribe to.
Right.
And that's what I want y'all to see.
Yeah.
Because no matter what position you put me in, this is who I'm going to be in that position. So I want you to know what you're getting. So when I walked in the audition room, a dude named Dorian, salute to the OG Dorian, man, he was sitting in the room, and he big old dude, you know what I mean? Big. He was just mugging. I'm just like, man, what's up, Nick? He was like, man, I remember you, man. You my man from, you know what I mean, Dolly homeboy, man, my man from the joint. I was like, yeah, I appreciate you, Nick. But who your man right here, man? What's wrong with him?
Yeah.
What's up with Slim? You all right, big man? You good? I need to be worried,
Checking
nigga.
his temperature.
Yeah, I need to be worried. Big ass, why you just standing there looking at me? He acting like he ain't want to laugh. And then I was like, bro, at least tell me your name. He was like, Dorian. I was like, oh, I see why you don't want to laugh. Your teeth big as a you trying to cut your tongue off trying to laugh. And then it's like,
broke
boom.
eyes.
You know what I'm saying? And that was just my interaction, because it's like, man, this is what you get with me. And I'm comfortable in my skin. I've always had to be. I've never been given a gray area growing up. Like, my mother was different. She was like, this is the reality of what it is. This is who you are. Learn how to love that.
Right.
And I had to figure that out growing up as a young man, because I always had man responsibilities. Loon, like, when my friends was playing football and riding their bike, I was walking to the Safeway with a cart to get the groceries for the house, because my mama was burnt out. She had to catch 3 buses to get back home from work. She ain't got the energy to walk down here to this Safeway. So here go the money. Here go the cart. Go down there and get everything on this list. You're going to miss that football game. It'll be another one. You're going to miss that bike ride. It'll be another one. And I had to figure out how to be comfortable watching all of this fun go on while I had to go handle responsibility that was not necessarily for a child to have to bear, but it was my reality.
Right.
And in those walks and them times where I had to be by myself, I had to learn how to be comfortable and confident within my own space.
And that
Now,
translates.
and as up as that may have been for me as a child, as a grown man, I'm thankful. I thank God every day for those experiences, because now I'm able to be comfortable in
That's
shit
one
that
of
I
them.
see other grown men fail at.
And that's one of them gifts for the future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That
we
you
were
don't know what
talking
you're getting
about.
all the
Yeah,
way.
You don't even know when you're going through. You like, man, it's cramping my shit.
Did you have your pops in your life?
Nah.
Did you have any type of relationship with
I
him?
mean, they came back around when, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to do certain things, you know, with artists, right? I used to rap, and I had Tip and Dro and Waka Flocka in the town one time, and my father showed up. I hadn't seen him in a year. Like, I don't have a relation. I got game from my uncle and from the streets.
Yeah, me
you know
too.
What I'm saying? So I ain't had
Me
no
too.
relationship with him.
That's who raised me.
Yeah,
Was
it's
my
like-
uncles in the streets, and you know, I just did Steve Harvey's boys camp, and one of the things that I gave to the young boys is none of them had fathers, and like I told them, as unfortunate as it is to not have a relationship with your father, you also aren't tied down to the obligations or responsibilities that your father would have gave you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
you're able to
traits that he
soak up
would've
game.
directly-
Right.
Yeah.
And directly passed down
Yeah.
to you, or, you know, diverted you from something that you was passionate about, but he not. So now you got to go by. So you got to feel free to be able to understand it. It's unfortunate, but you got to find the silver lining in the fact that you can take game from everywhere. You can get it from all over, and you know, got to soak as much of it up as you can. But I ask you that because, you know, in talking to you, you can see that you have an ability to be able to translate a message in a way that most who didn't have a relationship with their father can't do. And I'm always interested to ask guys who didn't,
Yeah.
at what point did you realize you was different than everybody else?
I think I knew that from
Or was it a moment that you feel like it really resonated and set in with you, that you knew you wasn't like everybody else?
it's when life threw at me the same things they threw at people and I conquered them. But also when I knew that life was giving me everything it had from a negative standpoint, and I survived that. So I said, nah, if I outwitted that, like outwitting the devil, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like, and then all my people, man, my people don't tell me that I'm great, but I don't care about words anyway. I watch actions. So the actions tell me I'm great. Everybody brings everything to me. When I didn't get broke down by what should have broke me down, you know, and
Can you give me an example of one of those times?
one time I was in a very serious relationship, and that relationship turned my hustle on. And I always tell people that sometimes love can turn on and activate a different kind of hustle. When you ain't got children and shit and you find something, you fall in love, like, I gotta take care of this. I didn't know women were trickery. I didn't know they had trickery involved in them. I was young, so I didn't really know that. Like when a woman would call me king, I would really try to live up to that. I didn't know that that's trickery, not all the time, and not from a pure woman, but where I was coming from, because I had some money, I'm king to everybody. You see what I'm saying? The dog is your cousin when you get a little money. So I didn't know I was operating in a space where people didn't mean what they were saying. So when I finally left out of that, I think I hit rock bottom mentally, as far as like, you way too smart to have done that. Like when I started to reveal things to myself and get away from it emotionally and look at it logically, it started to just say, all right, you gave a lot to something that you ain't get much from. How smart really are you?
Right.
Do you really, who really are you when you can be tricked by words in that way? And I dived in the books.
But it was some pussy involved too. Don't just say it was the words. You got to get it.
The pussy was
that's
top
really
tier.
that was a big part of it too. The words just made the pussy just you got to give yourself some grace on that one.
And the threesomes
everything,
and
all that shit. Right.
It was a vibration, but I think I still gave it too much. I still gave it too much mentally. You have a good time with it and things.
Yeah.
But if I'm not careful with this thing.
Oh, trust me. Who you telling?
Yeah,
I got the same problem. That's why I
Yeah.
said it's, it's so important to subscribe to whatever it is that, because the most consistent thing that's going to happen to us in this life is your mind going to talk inside your mind. As we having this conversation right now, our brain talking inside our brain. So that's what you got to navigate, because when everything gone and everybody gone and it's just you and your thoughts, that's who you are.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I got to.
That's why I stay with something, bro.
Yeah, I got to.
Yeah,
I got to because
it'll keep me. I be in the trick bag because I know me. I still a go. He said, "What to gonna do? I pop tall,
man." And it's that's the worst thing.
Unfortunate for
it's
me.
Fucked up, man.
Still available in that way,
and that's the hardest thing to be able to shake, man. I'm telling you, I'm with you. I totally understand it because I feel the same way about. In the perspective that you just gave in regards to navigating the things that should have broke you down. And I've had so many different moments throughout my life that, should have, that I had every excuse.
That's
like
what
I
I'm
said,
saying.
like not having no daddy, my daddy getting killed. I got every excuse to be as up as I can be.
Right.
But when my uncle got killed, I remember how I felt when I saw the world still moving. Everything was still going. And that's what made me realize, okay, this shit over here is my responsibility. Right. That out there is going to go whether or not I'm here or not. And once I realized that, it made me realize that the importance of managing your bubble is it's the most.
It's imperative.
It's imperative, man, for you to be able to navigate that, because I know from what I come from and the way I was trained, like, everybody in my household was with the bullshit and was on it. And that was normal. And the environment that I come from, the city that I come from, all of that shit was normalized to us. So for me to get to a point where I navigate beyond that and to be able to be pulled back into it based off of me not being able to manage my emotions is something that I constantly challenge myself on. Like when I was dealing with my mother being sick, I'm at the gas station. And mind you, I'm going through all these emotions because I feel it. I know my baby about to leave here. Yeah. And I'm in the gas station and is just looking at me, and he keep looking at me, and I'm like, man, Slim, what's? He like, oh, my bad, dog. I thought you was Chico Bean, and in that moment, I'm like, you tripping?
Yeah.
Like you are Chico. Like you tripping. Like I know it's up right now. I know you grade, could potentially be grade lose the most important thing in regards to you being who you are, but you are who you are. And it took me to walk around the block and do that same process. That's the blessing of me having that process. It saved my life because I knew what to do in that moment. I knew how to take myself out of it. So you got to develop something to be able to snatch yourself out of that shit whenever it happens. You know what I mean?
And then, I think because because you see me by myself, man, it's a strength, but it's a weakness. And the weakness side of it, because the weakness side of it is, I think I'm not available. So I'm not emotionally available. I'm not available for much. Like, and I don't mean time consuming shit. I mean like emotionally. Like I said, I'm not celebrating wins. I'm not relationships not really meaning much to me. Like me and a girl together is like, it is what it is.
That's fine though. I mean, in my opinion, because I'm the same way. Like,
I'm trying to work through these things. I'm trying to see, am I disconnected? Like, what's, you know what I'm saying?
Nah,
it just feels...
it's not that coming from somebody who moves the same way. I'm always by myself.
Facts.
Not because I can't be around a whole bunch of people, but I'm my own best friend, and I'm comfortable in that. I embrace that, and I think it's just a perception thing. Like, you want to be everything that you can be for the people that count to you, but you got to be that for yourself first. As cliche as that sound, it took me to get into a position where everybody wanted something from me to realize that the only shit that really mattered was what I can get of myself. And being alone and not having the same capacity that you see people judge you on, you know what I mean? Like, I've been one of the people that's been running around saying I don't want to ever get married or be in a relationship publicly for years. And one of the first things when I have a conversation with a woman about that is the first thing they do is relegate me to loneliness. That's the biggest.
Right.
They
wrong about that.
But still, that's the first thing they go to, because that's the people project what they fear the most on you when they hear you not conform to what they believe is something that works. But my perspective on what's lonely is different from yours, because being by myself, I revel in that.
Nah, and that's why I learned everything. That's got me. I'm loving that. Right? Being by myself, I love that. What I'm saying is though, is that for me in particular, I believe I've developed a skin or a shield or something that is not allowing anything to penetrate, right? Because I'm blocking out bad and negative, because I'm saying stay on your path, some kind of way it seemed like I done shut the door on anything coming in.
Nah, I disagree, because you look at where you at, you know what I mean? You got, just using Charlemagne, somebody that we share in regards to, like, he's been instrumental.
Yeah, he's a big brother.
And so much in my career, you know what I'm saying? Just saying, hey man, here, go do your thing, you know what I'm saying? Or because every opportunity don't come with some money attached to it. It's like just the looks. You think about how long I've been doing what I've been doing. I got on TV in 2013. What was you doing in 2013?
I was
exactly.
In the street,
that you ain't even got to say it.
Yeah.
So you think to now, we share a commonality of a person that I done been dealing with since over a decade now.
Right.
And this is somebody that you can genuinely say is a big brother, because he's in a position to offer you the same type of help that he's offered me. So you're not blocking out everything.
And I'm not talking about professionally. That's what I'm saying. I'm so locked in professionally that personally is suffering.
I mean, have you identified the things that you desire personally to be able to know if you...
No, but I've lost everything I had personally elevating professionally. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So because everything I had personally came from most things, I won't say everything, most things I had personally prior to leaving that whole stage was of that life. It was
Right.
of that elk. And when I'm over here, when I mix those two, I put myself in a trick bag.
Yeah.
So I literally had to cut that off.
Yeah.
Now, that was the right move. What I'm saying, the unintentional consequences, I think, and I could be wrong, but we're talking through this, right?
Right.
The unintentional consequences I think I'm faced with is that because I had to cut all of that off and shield myself, because I love them people on the other side of this thing.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I just told my right-hand man I talk to every single day is facing a life sentence. You know what I'm saying? This is my guy. This ain't somebody I know in passing. I don't even never drop his name. I ain't never done an interview. This ain't about no clout shit. This is my guy. So I'm saying it's love on over there. And it seemed like that's where all my love at. But I can't go get it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm over here where I get professionally, I'm piping hot.
Right.
I'm doing shit. I can call anybody in the game I can get in contact with just off my wit and my ability to talk, dog. I'm blessed beyond measure.
For sure.
But my love, the people that I know loved me before this, because again, all this, I'm thinking it's motives attached to shit now. Everything seems weird, and I'm sure you know what it's like on this side where it's like, who's here for what?
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying about what I was, the analogy that I was using about seeing that table and being able to, go like this. That's one aspect of it. But it's another thing to be able to see that table and go over there and stand at it and watch the game be played and give your perspective and all that, but not put none of your money into it. You know what I'm saying?
And I think I'll get there.
And that's the
But
part that
I'm
it
not
sounds
there
like.
yet
Yeah, it sounds like you still
because-
haven't separated your love that you get and the love that you were given in that regard when you over on that other side. Like, it's one thing for the love that you receive, but when people see you, it takes you back into the mode of being who you were over there to them. And it's hard for you not to turn back into that person.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that you got to be able to navigate, getting over there and being able to still be able to receive the love and give it, but just give it in a different way than they used to you. And it takes training. I give you an example. I had a show at the MGM in D.C. I knew that I did the first one right after my mama passed, so I was still in the twilight zone, and I had like 80 comp tickets. I just was putting on the list. They accommodated me.
Wow.
But when they came back the next time, which I'm blessed that there even was a next time because I sold enough tickets to where the 80 comps wasn't a problem. But when I came back the next time, they was like, look, we were understanding of what happened, prior, but we can't do that many comp tickets this time because we opening up the second level. We want to really, sell this thing out. So, of course we gonna accommodate your people, but only a certain number of people, right? Now, mind you, my mother played a big role in being a filter through certain people to me. Like certain shit didn't come to me because they didn't want to have to deal with one.
Right.
But once she was gone, all of that shit came to me. Now, mind you, it f***ed me up emotionally, as you said, because I'm real in touch with my emotions. I understand it. It's very rare I get into them, but if you somebody that I give them to, we in there.
You got me.
You got me.
Yeah.
So to know that people that I felt like should have been able to feel what I was feeling, to know that they would just ask me how I was feeling, to ask me for something right after, made me do something that I had never done in my life prior to that point, and that's duck the responsibility necessary to having the conversations with these people. I ain't never ducked nothing in my life.
Right.
But this is the first time I ever put shit off. It's texting me, calling me, hey man, you know what I mean? And I'm just, I ain't worried about that shit. Then it crept up on me. My manager hit me, boss lady hit me like, yeah, we gotta get ready, get this promo, how we gonna run this, the shit for the show and all of that. And I'm like, I can't do it. She like, what you mean? I can't do it. I realize I'm not ready to go up there and face these who I done let do this shit that I know I got a problem with, but I didn't have the ability to be able to address in a manner that was necessary up until now. I know I can't go up there and face them people because I know my mind. I know I get in there eating lamb chops and drinking champagne. Man, I wouldn't have missed this for the world. I can't say that I'm not going. You would have missed it if I didn't give you a ticket, ass. And I not in these people, not there, not at this level, not at the MGM, not. You know what I mean? Right. And it made me realize I had ducked something. So that was the first time I done been ashamed of myself in my life. I was ashamed of myself. Like, I can't believe I let this shit happen and had to cancel the show. I ain't never did that. Yeah. But after that cancelization, I said, man, I'm going to do what I need to do. I got to develop the mentality of what's necessary to be able to go over here and face these people. Yeah. Because I got to. These my people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I got to do it in a way where they respect the fact that I'm over here now. And I can't do it this way. So my thing was, look, everybody that was asking me for some shit, wherever I'm at in the world, you can come see me. I got you. Except for in this city.
Right.
In Washington, D.C., if I'm here, you got to buy a ticket to see me, man. Because you ain't got to really do nothing to support me. If you drive to Baltimore, I got you. Because at least it took you the gas money to get up here. But if you in this city and I'm performing in this city, man, buy a ticket to see me. You should want to if you my folks. And there was some hard conversations to have, but I had to do it. Yeah. And it took me to have that experience of canceling a show, some shit I never did before, to give me the strength to be able to go over there and have them conversations. I can't let that shit happen no more. And I'm glad that I was able to do it, and then I ended up selling out the show. The shit was amazing. But I just know that had I not had that type of interactions with the people that I had to have them with prior, then I would have never known what it took to be able to get it after the fact.
This is where you got me at. Hey, can you give me a Sprite too, bro? This is where you got me at. That's you personal meeting professional.
Yeah.
See, what I've done was literally sever the personal to elevate the professional.
But there's no way you could have completely severed it if you still over there. You see
I'm
what I'm
not
saying?
over there, though.
I mean, but you over there enough to know that the love that you was, that's still being over there. Yeah. So the severing that you did was your connection to what you was giving them folks while you was over there. That's what you stopped. You stopped being the guy that show up with the answers and all of the solutions and all of the man, I'm Loon, or man, this happened and that happened. Yes. I can't be that no more. But you haven't severed the connection to these people fully enough for you to be able to say that you done separated the professional. These people are still a part of who you are. You just have to figure out a way for yourself to be able to go over there without being attached to what you used to be.
Yeah, see, a lot of it ain't even for them. A lot of it's for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's all for you.
Because I go over there and turn back up. Because I see them, I see it. Bro, this town is it's popping, man.
Yeah.
Like popping. My homeboy, another one of my guys, he took a million loss. They went in 500 racks, 40 bricks. Like, if you involved on that level around here, like in here, it'd be 100,000 in here just floating around, gambling, and you know what I'm saying? It's going down in this town. So I try to stay away from that because it'll be my luck in here. The homeboys,
yeah,
and then something pop off.
You got to be at, but that's the price of
so I
doing the
sacrifice
unseen.
even getting that love I know is real,
right?
Because it's too dangerous for the overall circumstance I find myself in. So it got me by default forced to deal with fake love.
I mean, I disagree in regards to what you can do, like what you just said, what you already doing. You that then did it yourself and created your own island. You smart enough to be able to develop and curate a space where you can get some of that without having to deal with what come with that.
You remember Tip said, I still ain't forgave myself.
Yeah.
So what I explained to you about whatever time about, you put a lot into that and didn't get none, I still remember that.
Yeah.
What am I getting for that trust that I'm giving? You see what I'm saying?
I
I'm
get
saying,
it.
bro, when it get now it ain't even about me feeling that. Cause I got these 2 little boys I gotta worry about now.
Right.
And if I had to pick myself up again, where they capture my ability to understand I am who I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell people. Don't let nobody capture your confidence, man.
Oh yeah.
Because you cannot, it's hard to rebuild.
Yeah, it's tough.
And so when I got down in that place, I had to go back to my roots and say, this is what made me smarter. But here, see, if I just remember the process, then I would know what happened after that.
Yeah.
Because boy, when they told me down like that, when I caught that case in the street and then that happened, because consequently the money wasn't the same because they got my hands tied up. And all of a sudden this fall victim to the circumstances changing. You don't think I'm smart enough to connect the dots. You want me to believe that somehow we fell out of love.
Yeah.
When I know damn well it's because I can't do the same things I done without putting my life on the line in a way where I leave my children. So I'm saying I make conscious decisions to say them little boys don't come see me in jail. My last time going to jail, them little boys was so young they didn't remember. It's like I gotta probably tell them, you know, daddy went to jail. They haven't came to a jailhouse or a jail phone. That would break my heart, right? But anyway, if I just remember the process, when they threw everything they could at me, when I was talking about earlier, because that was rock bottom for me, not even the picking myself up from whatever love I've gave. But when I've been through things where I felt like it was the end or the bottom that I can be, where my confidence has been captured, where I felt like, yo, who are you now? They done said you can't even hustle, bro. Your money running out. They got you pushing a forklift. What is happening? Who are you? Like, bro, that was an identity change. But if I remember the process after that and I got in them books, I became a monster. I shedded all that dumb street shit because it forced me to reevaluate and say, you ain't swift as you thought. You got caught hustling. That went left. This went left. What were you? That street shit had you in a trick bag. I went to reading. I went to listening to powerful things and just reading and watching CNN again for technique, though. What they saying, and I built a monster that they have to deal with today. Right? So sometimes shedding things, it's like, I don't know why I want to keep going back there for even that love when it's the big world. We operate in a very big world.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's like that we make excuses to go and feel the level of comfort that we felt when things were easier for us and the work that was required for us to be successful at whatever it was we was doing. It's hard to be a street, but once you good at it, it's easy.
It's easy.
Because all you got to do is just show up and allow them to trying to get up under you. Like I said, it's a lot of getting taken advantage of by these big homies and these and shit like that. So you have every excuse to be over there. So the fact that you making a conscientious decision every day to, even though you're struggling with the back and forth of it, you still making a decision, not only knowing what you knew then, but knowing what you know now and what you could really do if you took it back over there. You know what it is now. So that right there is what it is that is the most important in regards to you moving all the way outside of being attached to it in the way that you are attached to it now, because those people who are in that space, if they love you the way that they supposed to love you, they don't want you to be a part of it. And I'm sure
they don't love me like I think.
I mean, yeah, and it's
Again, like you said, I'm dealing with I'm just comfortable there, you know. Because as a man, though, we talking man shit. It costs a man something to build love. Love ain't free.
No, it's a very expensive. Hey man, it's
so
very
when we
expensive.
go out and
I
say
get
I
you.
want to find love again, as a man, I know how expensive that is, and it's almost like I ain't willing to pay it. But I do myself a disservice, especially when I'm operating at this level, right? I'm saying to myself, yo, I don't want no relationship, but I don't even trust people at all, family. Like, I got zero trust, especially when I deal with women, zero trust. Ain't no coming nowhere around me. Like, I'm gonna meet you somewhere, you know, and this is, you know, this is just standard procedure.
Yeah, I was about to say
this ain't out of bounds.
That don't sound like it's too.
What I'm saying is, when you operate in the real world, outside of the streets, and you see people more comfortable with things and people like move different than you. It's like, damn, man, it seemed like that's a nicer life to have.
Yeah, I mean, but you
know
got to
what I'm
give
saying?
yourself some grace too, because you ain't that far removed from the space that you was in. You just happen to be very good at this new space to where you elevated quickly, so quickly that you thinking, you still got the street mentality. I done hustled up this with you got to give yourself some grace in that regard, to give yourself some time to be able to reprogram yourself.
I'm glad we having this helping so many watching. I'm
Like,
telling
man,
you.
like you got to be able to reprogram yourself and give yourself some time to be able to do that personally.
Yeah.
Everybody
Right.
else on every capacity, women,
Yeah.
your homeboys, all
And
that.
you know that's my vibe though. Like if you see me here, this my time. I can have this filled up. I'm popping. It could be a bunch of fake love in here right now.
But do you need that though?
You don't see it, so evidently I don't. What I'm saying is, I got the ability to do that. So I'm conscious about I don't need nobody, but I understand that I'm maneuvered into a new spot to where I no longer have the tribe, and I got to build the new tribe. I got to curate the new tribe.
But what do you think it is that's constantly making you keep thinking about the
That's what
fact
I'm
that
saying.
you can do it?
I don't
That's the
know.
thing. The fact that you saying, I can have this jumping, and I know I can go
Yeah.
do that. You gotta stop
Disconnect.
thinking
Yeah,
about that
yeah,
shit in
yeah,
that capacity.
yeah. I
Because the
don't know
more,
why. That's what
the
I'm
more
saying.
you
I don't
thinking
know
about
why.
it, the more is you going to eventually find yourself surrounded by the thing that you trying to remove yourself from. It's inevitable. There's no way you can't do that because you didn't. It's just like me. Like when I go home, I see people. Like I had a situation. I saw a dude I went to high school with. Now I thought this was above it. Like, it's certain that you think they might, what I mean, everybody taking the risk of going to jail and
Yeah.
getting killed out here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's certain shit that certain you just, man, you
no
ain't gonna
way.
succumb
Yeah,
to that.
Yeah.
And I saw him, and that wasn't the case. He had totally, and I'm like, damn. And I couldn't even bring myself to stop and holler at him as much as I wanted to because I understand that I have removed myself completely from whatever you got going on. And I can't afford for it to walk up on you while I'm standing here hollering at you. I can't afford for that to be the case. I got to let you stand in your space, and hopefully in this prayer I'm going to give you, because it broke my heart, but I got to keep going. As much as I wanted to pull over and holler at him, I seen him. Me nodding out in front of the carryout. This is that I thought this was my man.
Yeah.
Like this was never, not that.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that he had going on, I understand what I have going on won't allow me to insert myself into it in the capacity that I wanted to and that was natural for me to do. Because who we were the last time we interacted, man, what's up with you, Slim, man? What you got going on? I know you ain't out here. Nah, I'm not there no more. So what I can do out of love is get in contact with somebody who is close to him and still in that vicinity and help him that way.
Right.
And that's what I chose to do. I pulled another that I know that from his neighborhood.
Right.
Hey, man, come holler at me, man. I got to talk to you so I can get the backstory of what I just saw. Am I tripping? What's going on?
Yeah.
He gave me the backstory, man. Do this for him. Look out for him in this way. Tell him it came from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you gotta stay away.
But you can't insert yourself.
And for me, I think what I'm saying is, when I say I can have a bunch of people in here, what I'm saying is that I refuse to surround myself with fake love. Now, by consequence, because I've been wrong about it several times,
I was just about to say that.
it's made me say, surrounding yourself
With love.
with any love.
Yeah, I mean, right. So,
And I think that's what I'm dealing
yeah,
with.
you
Now,
got to be able to identify
So what do you stand with relationships and shit? Like,
as far as what?
you in a relationship?
As far as an intimate relationship? No, I'm in a couple of them.
Okay,
I got
See, that's
multiple
my
women
vibe.
that I deal
that's
with.
my vibe.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I say that, and I'm very honest as well. I don't do no lying.
Nah.
Ain't no games
Yeah,
being
yeah,
played.
yeah,
Every
yeah.
woman that deals with me knows exactly what they dealing with. Like the way I make it, long story short, I make the outside of my house ugly. I leave with all the shit that you gonna catch it doing. I'm telling you up front, this is what I have going on. You're not going to be the only woman I deal with. You're not going to be the only woman I talk to. You're not going to be the only woman I have a relationship with.
Right.
So if you come over here, know that that's going to be the reality. Now, as far as the details of that, I usually don't even have to get into that because that eliminates majority
of the
questions that come once you leave with that. But that's who I am, and that's how I operate. But what that does for me is that allows me to be able to surround myself with people who I can hold to the same standard that I hold myself
and be
to.
honest with.
And tell the truth to. Like I always say, one thing that I find very interesting about is when I had conversations when we about to go into something a lot of people always interact with me about or ask me about because I've been so vocal about it and I live like this is really my life. I always find it funny that can be a real everywhere except for in their house. You a real in the streets, you will do all this shit, but when you go home, you can't look at this woman that you say you supposed to be the king and the leader of and be who you really are.
That's the tail in that.
Yeah, I can't live like that.
Nah, but
like,
see, because what dudes are doing are acting.
Yeah, very
like,
good
dudes
too.
Dudes are undiscovered actors, man. When they are out here, that's not a taking care of no business. He just look like
he just look like it. That costume.
That house tell you what's
really going on,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's where you get it from.
And for me, I've learned in me being this way with women and being forthcoming about who I am completely, that you learn the truth of who women are. See, most don't know who these women really are.
Right.
But when you lead with
truth
and the disarming the thing, because all of this shit is just disarming you, because all of the things that you got bottled up and you think you're gonna be able to sneak and that ain't happening over here. This a whole nother program. Like if you playing full court basketball, I'm letting you know I'm out here because I love women, especially black women. So I'm over here,
right.
But I'm over here on this side court with this tennis ball. So if you want to play full court, if you looking for a relationship,
right,
do your thing.
Yeah.
But don't come over here for this unless you want to learn a new game. That's just what it is. And then having those types of conversations, you learn the things that most don't know. And in my environment growing up, the game that I got about women came from women. They never gave me no game in regards to a woman that I could utilize in regards to my interaction with a woman. It gave me the game to how to handle being with a woman and the shit that you do in regards to getting them and keeping them and all of that. But the day-to-day interactions and the things that you gonna notice that a woman is doing to you, and again, like you said, them tricks and all of that, that's only gonna come from a woman because they are ironclad. The difference between and women is get caught. Women get away with it. That's why you hear same shit because it's constantly getting caught up because women are emotionally more developed and able to handle the bullshit and the stress that we give them way better than we are able to handle the stress that they give us. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can 50 women on your girl. You found out she gave a hug too long. You ready to kill everybody. So that's just the difference. When you think about somebody who can endure that much shit that you have agreed that you would never do to this person, what is she doing in that time to quell those emotions that you giving her?
What is she developing?
What is she developing into in those moments? That's what I've been able to be privy to now that I stopped being full of shit. Because I used to be full of shit like every other, you know what I mean, as a younger. But after a certain point in my life, at 23 years old, you know what I mean, I was like, you know what? I'm really on some sucker shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's a reality check. That's something we gotta go
I'm
through.
Really on some sucker shit,
lying
man.
All these women
and pretending to be somebody to make them like me and saying whatever I need to say to make you. That's sucker shit. Yeah. And I ain't never been a sucker, and I ain't never been able to be around. I ain't never been comfortable in that space. But when it comes to this female, I throw all that shit out the window.
That ain't straight.
Just to be able to say I got some pussy.
Yeah, that ain't straight. That is not straight, but we do that.
We do it.
We talking to young men right now.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, like if you can help it, and you got to go through it. I understand it's tough.
You gonna go
because I've been through it. I've been in that. Sometimes it's just you. It is what it is. But at this point in life, I'm not going to pretend to be anything ever this is who I am. This is what comes with me.
What turned you into that?
Just being able to understand.
Because you didn't always be
No.
like,
It was just one of those moments where I went through some shit, and really it was a conversation I had.
Why is it blinking, man?
I think we might have got. I say I became that way from. It was really a conversation that I had with my mama. I had a conversation with my mother, man, and I don't even think I ever talked about this before, but I had a conversation with my mother about my father, and she never talked to me about who my father was. She talked to me about how my father was. Like, you act like your daddy, you look like your daddy, you lie like your daddy, but she never told me who he was as a man. And in having this conversation with her, it was just spur of the moment. Like I said, I'm, staying in North Carolina. I went home to visit, and I had just went through some shit and stopped dealing with a female based on some bullshit that I did, you know what I'm saying? And I'm having a conversation, and I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, did my daddy ever cheat on you? And she was like, cheat on me? She was like,
make sure you catch as much as you can just in case it's doing some funny shit.
She said, cheat on me? She was like, what made you ask me that? I'm like, I'm just wondering if you ever went through that with my father. She was like, oh, what you out here? You got your dick in the streets? This is my mom. This is how she talked to me.
Yeah.
Like, what you got your dick in the streets? I'm like, yeah, to an extent, but I just was wondering if, because I don't know who my daddy, I don't know if I got something. I don't know if this was if he had that black snake moan in him. Like, was this hound dog, or who was he in that regard? Because at this point I'm feeling like a sucker, because I had got caught doing some shit that was some sucker shit. Caught me up lying about some sucker shit, and I just felt like, man, and that's the only person I can come to about it.
Yeah.
So she was like, your daddy ain't never had to cheat on me. She's like, your daddy ain't never told me nothing but what it was. She was like, so that's and that's why I feel like I ain't had nobody to ever meet that standard since then. Because everybody that came in contact with me then been full of shit, and I ain't that you can play with like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That changed my perspective.
Let you know.
And it gave me a little glimpse into, okay, my daddy he was telling the truth. What does that even look like?
Right.
What does it feel like to look a woman in the face and be able to tell her some shit that'll make her turn around and walk away from you?
Yeah. And
be all right with it.
Yeah.
I had no idea what that was.
That'll say something to a woman, but is you all right with her saying,
I'm
cool
good.
with
Taking that L of you not getting whatever it is you.
Yeah.
I had no idea what that felt like. I didn't even know that was something that could be done outside of the type of relationships that I saw my uncles have that was, pimps.